Hey guys, how you doing? It's Benji again. I finally got into Alice Springs last night after spending over a month in the desert and living out of my motorbike. So I'm staying here tonight at the YHJ Hostel in the heart of Alice, and I thought I would just make this video because after posting something on social media last night, I've had nearly 1,000 likes and 1,000 hits. So I thought, and a lot of people have been asking a hell of a lot of questions about how I got through the desert, how I, what I took, everything that was part of the journey. So I thought I'd make this quick video just to go through all of that. So we'll start from the beginning. So this is my camping gear. That's just a -8 sleeping bag, and that proved with a sleeping bag liner. So that proved really handy because it was quite cold in the Simpson Desert at night. There was ice in my tent for most mornings. So it's better to have a sleeping bag that's too warm than one that's not. It's a single man hiking tent. So that's quite lightweight. It weighs no more than a couple 100 grams and real quick to set up. And that's my blow-up mattress. I opted to go with a blow-up mattress as opposed to a foam one because it's a little bit more comfort. But if you are going to go with a blow-up mattress, make sure you take one that has got a punch and repair kit, because I did blow a hole in that somewhere along the trip. Over here is just my toolkit and some spare parts, but I've made a whole nother video on that, so I'll put that up on the YouTube channel later, and you'll see what's in part of all of those, that kit. And before I left Mildura, I just got a 22mm spanner for the front axle nut on my front wheel. I took some cord with me because I thought I might need that to tie down or hang some laundry up, but I never used it once, so if I was going to do this trip again, I wouldn't take that again, I wouldn't bother. Instead, I would just keep the tie down straps, which I use for my saddlebags, and instead of using ratchet straps, I just used these grunt pull down straps because they're lightweight and strong enough for everything I needed to. I could use them as my tow rope as well. And a couple of times I was stuck on a sand dune and got someone to help me pull the bike up. I took a tomahawk with me. This was Gerber tomahawk, and this has actually proved to be really handy in the bush because I've used it to collect firewood. I've used it to nail some tent pegs down to my tarp and my sleeping tent when it's been quite windy. This one in particular has got a little knife in the back of it, used for you know, cutting wood, but I never used that. The option was to take this or take a hammer, and I decided to go with the axe because when I was on the in the Canning Stock route, which is the Great Sandy Desert and the Little Sandy Desert, the dingoes were quite friendly at night and I could hear them sniffing around my tent, so it was just a little bit of nice peace of mind to have that sit next to me while I slept. And I also just made the joke with my friend that if I was ever trapped in the bush and trapped under my bike, it's a lot easier to use this. You can't hammer your leg off with a hammer, that would hurt a lot, so it was nice to have this and know I could do that if I ever needed to. In the back of my saddlebag, one of the pockets that never got opened, I kept all my oils and tapes. So just some duct tape, some gaffer tape, some grease, more electrical tape, a chain breaker, some Velcro, chain lube, which I lubed my chain once leaving Melbourne, and as soon as I hit the sand I never lubed it again because the lube just made the sand stick to the chain like pootable blanket. So that was just, I never used that again. And some skins for my air filters. One thing that I noticed coming across the deserts is that cable ties are your absolute best friend. So leaving Melbourne, I made sure I had a whole assortment of different sizes. These are the real heavy duty ones and the medium duty ones. The small ones are a waste of time out there, so these are the smallest ones I used. So cable ties are your best friend. On the Canning Stock route and coming across the Great Big Desert on the Amberdell Highway, I hit a lot of trees, a lot of termite mounds, dropped the bike, the saddlebags exploded. So I've pretty much used cable ties to hold my saddlebags together. So you can see on this saddlebag, there's pretty much cable ties on every single seam on the actual bag itself. So just on a quick count on that one, there's over 50 cable ties on that saddlebag, and there'd be a hell of a lot more on this saddlebag because it's just had a lot more pain and suffering inflicted on it. But so if you're going to do a trip like this, make sure you pack many cable ties. I did take 2 front spare tubes. They were really handy because I knew I could put a spare front in the rear, but I couldn't put a rear in the front. So I actually had a spare rear tube, but because of the weight issue I had in the Simpson Desert, I let the spare rear go and just kept the 2 fronts. Velcro is another thing that has come really in handy more than one occasion. So Velcro is your best friend out here with the cable ties. And I did take a bigger tire lever as well, and that proved priceless when I did blow my front in the Tanami, when I blew my rear, sorry, in the Tanami Desert, because you can change your front tire with the small tire levers, but the rear is an absolute pain in the butt if you don't have a bigger tire lever. So that was indispensable. Coming up across the Amberdale Highway, I had to take 21 litres of water, but coming up the Canning Stock route, I just kept that down to 10 litres, and I just kept my water in 1.5 litre bottles. That worked out well for me because if I blew one bottle for whatever reason, I dropped the bike or I hit a tree, I didn't lose my whole water supply. These bottles just proved perfect for purpose, but because I was actually going through quite a few of these bottles, I ended up taking 2 600ml bottles and keeping them in my tank bag, so when I did drop the bike, I didn't have any problems losing water. And also every time I saw a four-wheel drive or anything, it was just really quick to fill these up. So the majority of my water supply stayed in my saddlebags at all times, and I just made a rule, every time I saw a four-wheel drive, I would fill my water supply, non-negotiable. After 10 days on the Canning, this is the last of my food resupply, which I got sent out to Walloona. So there's just a cup of soup, 1 protein bar left, which is more like a protein powder now because it's been crushed up. Outdoor Gourmet Dehydrated Meals Company and the Backcountry Cuisine. I've been living off these things for over 30 days now, and I've actually found, if I had to put it to a vote, that the backcountry meals are a little bit tastier. Probably no more nourishing or nutritional value, but that was just a little bit more tastier, I found personally. But it was still good to have a a bit of variety. So even those were a little bit less delicious, still good to have the change of variety. Fuel, I've made a video on the fuel as well, but these are just some liquid containment bladders. They're 12 litre bladders, but I was able to get 11 litres in them comfortably. So with the safari tank on the front, 14 litres in that, 14 litres in the roto pack, which sits on the back, plus the 2 11 litre bladders. I've got a fuel capacity of 50 litres on board, which equates to about 1,000 kilometre range in good conditions. And for the longest stretch coming across all 10 deserts, I needed to traverse 850 kilometres. So it was good to have that extra 150 kilometres or 6 litres, give or take, in the fuel tank, just to get me out of trouble. Wolfman tank bag on the front, and this is one of the biggest ones you can get. In the tank bag, I just kept a solar panel, which I never had to use. Bits and pieces, there's my 12-volt charger for my drone batteries, radio, sat phone, and here's another drone battery with an attachment for 5-volt USB sockets. So that was actually really good because I just charged my phone and my GoPro off that while I rode, and charged my additional drone batteries off the 12-volt socket while the bike was running. I also took 2 pumps with me. So if you're going to do a big trip like this and you don't have a compressor on your bike, You'd be foolish only to take one pump, because when I was in the Gibson Desert, this pump actually did fail, so that was completely useless to me. So luckily I had a brand new King Chrome pump in my toolkit, or strapped to my PVC toolkit, so that came in handy. So take two, not one. Have a backup. 12 volt USB port, never used it because I didn't have to. And in the tank bag, I just kept other few bits and pieces like repellent, which I never used, a spare grunt tie-down strap, which I never had to use, bit of rope, which I did use, which is just the offcut from a tie-down strap, Barocca, I kept a few of those, a couple of spare lighters. Okay, you can never have enough lighters in the bush, so I think I've got one in my first aid kit, one in my beacon pouch, one in my backpack, two in my tank bag. You can never have enough of those. I took a set of nail cutters with me, just because I don't like having long nails and I don't like chewing my nails either. And those actually, I use those to cut the tails off my cable ties. So that was like a luxury item for me to take. What else have I got? Also on the top of my tank bag, I just had a digital tie lever, a tie pressure gauge, sorry, another lighter. This is my spoke tightener, so every morning I'll just check my spokes. This is like, I did this religiously because some spokes did shake loose in the corrugation, so if you don't have a spoke tightener, make sure you get one and take it with you if you're going to go off-road. And I just kept a 5mm Allen key in the tank bag, really easy to access because my bark busters tended to shake themselves loose, and it's 5mm Allen key on that. So every morning I just check those, tighten those up, and that was it for my tank bag. Sitting around my waist, I just had a little bit of a utility bag, Leatherman sat in that. Okay, and I use that every day, whether it be to cut a cable tie, cut some cord, whatever the case might be. That was a godsend. First aid kit, beacon pouch. I've made a whole nother video on all the safety equipment I took with me. So if you're more interested to have a look at that in depth, but basically this is the stuff. I made sure I had this on my body, so if I did get thrown from the bike, or I was separated from the bike for whatever reason, or I was stuck in a ditch and I couldn't move, this stuff was easily accessible. So that was a must-have, and it's pointless being on the bike, you can't access it, and you need it. So on my helmet, just a pair of Scott goggles, and I cut my visor, a mount out of my visor just to mount my GoPro. So got some good GoPro footage there, and that actually proved really handy when I was traveling east to west, riding into the setting sun. I could just flip the GoPro down and I still had my, didn't lose anything out of my visor. So good to keep the visor because that made a big difference. On my back, I just kept a backpack. I tried to keep as much weight out of this as possible, but because I was limited for space, the backpack probably still weighed between 10 and maybe 12.5 kilos. So just some magnesium tablets, which made a big difference when your muscles were sore from a big day on the bike. Headlamp, head torch, some snacks throughout the day. So here I've got some vitamin tablets, peanut butter, which was delicious to eat. It's a good snack to eat. I also had some muesli bars and some protein bars. The Man Shake, these are really lightweight, and you just basically mix these with water, and that's a meal replacement. So they were really, really good. I actually really enjoyed those, and you pretty much stop, sit under a tree, stir one of these up, and that was your lunch done. So that was good. A couple of tea bags, things like that. Otherwise, this is my cooking setup. So I looked at getting a Jetboil, and the Jetboils are good, but they're like quadruple the price of one of these. So there's my little gas cooker, and that just screws into the gas can like that, and I can boil water in that. no problems, and that's where I get my water for dehydrated meals. But the difference between the Jetboil and these, $40 for this, $240 for the Jetboil. You can put this on the open coals, you can boil your water, you can add it to your dehydrated meals, put a cup of tea in there. So that was all I needed to cook all my meals, make a cup of tea, live a happy life out there. Took a drone with me. People said I was a bit crazy because it's quite heavy, but there were situations in the Great Big Desert when I lost the track, and flew the drone up in the sky, sent it out for a kilometre or so, found the track, and I was able to find my way again. And that has also taken some pretty priceless images as well. So I took the drone, baby wipes. Look, throughout the whole trip, I used 2 packets of baby wipes, or 1.5. So that's like a bit of a luxury item. They weigh nothing, but good to have, not need to have. Took batteries. Something I took with me that I never ever really wore was my hat with my mosquito net mesh. Wore it maybe twice in the Simpson Desert, but otherwise never wore it again, simply because I had my helmet on. Clothing, I took 2 sets of clothes, but really I wore the 1 pair of riding pants every day for over 30 days. So yeah, they smell delicious. So these were, once upon a time they were white, but now they're covered in dirt, blood, grease, everything else in between. So I'll put them in the wash tonight. But wore those every day for 30 days, and otherwise I had 3 shirts, which was a quick dry material button-up shirt and 2 silk motocross shirts. If I was going to do this trip again, I would have left those silk shirts behind. Got rid of them completely. They were good to act as a pillow, and that's about it. Because they're silk, they're synthetic, they started to stink up after just a day of riding. If I was going to do this trip again, I would have used cotton shirts. But that one was also good because I could wear this day in, day out. It's looking pretty horrible now, but whenever I got to a well or I could replenish my water, I could take this off and just wash it, and it would be dry within 10-15 minutes. I could put it back on and keep riding, and it was fresh again for another day. Another non-essential item I took with me was baby powder. This stuff is a shower in a plastic bottle. So because I only had 2 pairs of socks, I'd wear the same pair of socks every day. And to be honest, with baby powder in your feet and boots, it didn't really bother you that you were wearing yesterday's socks. And it's much nicer to crawl into a sleeping bag at night that smells like a baby's bum than your own bum. So if you're going to do a trip like this, take your baby powder. I also took a 700 duck down jacket, which I slept in at night. Probably didn't need to be as warm as it was, but if you're going to do this, make sure you take a jacket that folds away or scrunches up into a nice little ball like this. It's light, it's compact, takes up no space, and at night time, that's actually a really comfortable pillow. So when I got further north and came up into the tropics, out of the Simpson Desert, I could actually just put that in my duffel bag, and that was my pillow at night. So I had a really comfortable pillow to sleep on. Again, 2 pairs of socks, or 3 pairs of socks is all I took. 2 pairs of jocks, 1 pair of pants, 3 tops. That was it. That was my towel, which I had, which I never used. That was just, again, more padding for my pillow at night. Pillow. This stuff could probably all get burnt. And one thing, again, which is something that I wouldn't live without, was just a couple of bandanas I took with me. I wore these around my neck. When it was really cold in the mornings coming up through the Flinders Ranges, you can wear this. It protects your face, it protects your nose. You can blow your nose into it. You get to the wells on the Canning Stock route, you take this off your neck, you wash off, use it as a wash rag, use it to wipe your hands, clean your hands, everything else. So a couple of bandanas. Must have item, really, really good. What else? These are my Tech 7 riding boots. These came with the bike when I bought it about just under 19 or 20 months ago. By the end of this trip, I reckon I've taken half the desert with me through in these boots. 4 clips on each boot, 8 clips, only 4 clips left that actually work because they've just been hit by so much scrub. RST riding jacket. I left the inner inside at home, but this has just been really, really good. It's saved my arms in some of the thicker scrub I've had to ride through. I've come off a few times. It's got great padding in the elbows, great padding in the back. It certainly saved my skin more than once, so that was a really good jacket to wear. And my helmet again coming across the canning stock route, the bush is really tight, so you can see on my helmet a lot of the carnage. It's just been through hell and back. There's not much left of it. I lost my visor. Again, just a branch over the track, just broke it straight off. What else? With my duffel bag and everything else, I had that strapped to the back and I just put it in an old tent bag. And in that tent bag was another plastic bag. So all my clothes and everything just wrapped up in the plastic bag. Put that in the tent bag so that was protected from the dust and all the dirt of the canning and all the deserts and things like that. And that's it really. The bike proves itself time and time again. You can see here on the front of the bike, there's not much left of the bark buster. So that's been bashed up pretty badly. The saddlebags, the cable ties on the saddlebags speak for themselves. The tyres have done over 7,800 kilometres and the rear blew just a couple hundred kilometres out of Alice Springs. So I think I got 7,500 kilometres out of a Dunlop 606. So I'm really happy with the way the tyres performed. The total distance I travelled for this whole expedition from Mildura all the way back to Alice Springs was 7,851 kilometres. 99% of that was dirt, sand and corrugations. And 10 deserts. The record will stand at about 30 days approximately. And the actual new Guinness Book of Records I set was the fastest man across all 10 deserts of Australia, solo and unsupported on a motorbike. So I'll get confirmation on the actual record soon once I submit my evidence. That will be the new record to beat, and it is quite achievable. If anyone wants to go out there and do this crazy adventure, give me a call, let me know. I'm more than happy to help you through it all and talk you through every stage that I went through. Would I do it again? No. Once is enough for me. It was pretty hard at times. But for me, it was just a challenge I set for myself. The simple fact that I got a record out of it is a bonus. It's just something I want to do for myself personally. And another question people ask me is fuel economy. Again, 50 litres of fuel, 1,000 k's of range, works out to about 20 kilometres per 1 litre, or 5 litres per 100. Yep, so the bike is really economical. I went with a smaller motor because I knew it was going to be more economical. If I took a larger CC motorbike, I would have had to take 20 or 30 litres more fuel with me to get over the longer stretches. I'm pretty sure that's it. I've had so many questions, I'm sure there's going to be more. Also weight loss across the whole trip. So I'll put 2 photos up on me later on, before and after. But I think over the whole trip I might have lost maybe 6 or 7 kilos. And certainly any sort of fat I was holding would have turned into muscle over that time, because I spent 99% of the time on the pegs going across the sand dunes. But otherwise, I think that's pretty much it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed the adventure. I hope you've enjoyed the journey. If you do have any more questions, please just put them in the comment section below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. That's it from me. The website's www.daringtoventure.com.au. Instagram, YouTube, it's all the same. There's nothing left for me to say now. I'm going to leave you with all that. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Take your chances. Go with it. Go with your gut. That's it from me. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, guys. Cheers.